5:35.51. Sadly, a near-fatal road accident put an end to any chances the talented Tshabalala had of gracing the Comrades podium on more occasions. But in true...
No hell below us.
Is of course the Holden Racing Team Commodore Win Percy Alan Price.
For drivers and teams, the Bathurst 1000 remains the ultimate challenge.
Engines come up to rev so they get off the line.
It always provides the most memorable moments in Australian motor racing. And
look, happiness, camaraderie, everybody setting their own goal, going their own way with their own particular goal in mind.
Famous for its parks and gardens. Famous for its mix of traditional and modern. Famous for its trams. Famous for its food and fine dining. And famous for its sport. Melbourne, home of the 30th annual Melbourne Marathon.
Round Federation Square, and Steve, what a picture postcard site it is as the rest of the field come down Wellington Parade South. Have a look at that, an icon, not just a Victorian landmark, an Australian landmark, Flinders Street Station.
And haven't they done a terrific job? This new course is scenic, it's flat, it's fast, and people have voted with their feet. There's no doubt that the numbers are doubled this year because it is such an attractive course, and good weather, everything looks good for a great day out there.
Just saw Magnus Mikkelsen there, who just come back from the Comrades Marathon, which is one of the real torture tests in world sport.
Be like doing a sprint for him today, that's right. It's much harder and longer. It's about 87 kilometres there, and one uphill year and one downhill year.
At 3,000 metres altitude. A furious surge by Nick Bester just after Drummond blew the lead group apart, leaving the Russians far back. And by Hillcrest, just Bester himself, Mateos, and novice Zitulele Cinque were left.
And first man today. Let's have a look at that course starting in Durban. First of the big hills is Cowie's Hill. Uphill all the way nearly to the halfway point, winding to Pinetown, dropping down to Drummond at the halfway point. After Drummond and Chonga, that huge big hill, dropping down to Camperdown. And then the highest point on the road at Umraas Road. And the field drops down again, and then the dreaded Polly Shorts, a 3-kilometre climb near the end of the race. This year, new finish at the Scottsville Racecourse.
Story of Pheidippides, whose daring run 2,000 years before had been immortalized in 1896, when the first Olympic marathon had been staged in Athens. His name was Vic Clapham, and he had a dream to create an event which would forever... Gutsy Scott trotted onto the field at the finish, a mere 60 metres from the finish line. But Marnie Kuhn appeared from nowhere just 6 seconds later, tearing down the straight. Malone's legs gave way, and the rest is history.
Among the first to
1930, the year which saw the first appearance in the Comrades of arguably its greatest ever competitor, Wally Hayward. This win by the 21-year-old marked the start of one of the most remarkable careers the world of long-distance running would ever witness. A career which would still be going strong in 1997, 67 years later.
I beat Marston Smith, I think it was only by about 30-odd seconds. That was all I beat him by. Yeah, that's how he caught.
To be desperately close as the nation held its breath. But the great man finally crossed the line 2 minutes before the final gun.
I really felt that when I got to the finish I could turn around and run back to Maritzburg. I felt so good.
Sandwiched in between Rob's 1978 and 1980 victories came a rather unexpected win for Pete Foster, who provided host club Collegians with their first ever winner. Johnny Halberstadt rallied from an 8-minute-long cramp-induced stop along the road to grab a remarkable second place. In 1981, another era started, in more ways than one. It was the first win by a blonde Wits University archaeology student by the name of Bruce Fordyce, which marked the beginning of the longest series of victories in the history of the race, and coincided with an exponential growth in the number of participants. Athletes of the caliber of Johnny Halberstadt and Bob Delamotte, who should by rights have won the race, were thwarted by Fordyce. His win that year came in a new record time of 5:37. But for the young student, the day was surprisingly not entirely a happy one.
It was a sad thing to run a race and have most of the people at the side of the road very against you. A lot of people shouting insults and throwing things, and I had a feeling that people were hoping I would lose. The 1981 race was made part of the Republic Day festivals, and they actually paid the comrades, they paid the CMA to make it part of the festival, to celebrate 21 years of apartheid government. And those of us who felt we just could not agree with the inverted commas celebration felt we had to show our displeasure with that, but we also felt we trained so hard. I'm thinking of Isabel Rush Kelly, Danny Biggs, myself, a lot of academics who were running, just felt we trained so hard. We wanted to run comrades, but we wanted to show that we disagreed, that there was no cause to celebrate, and that 21 years of apartheid was not actually a celebration, it was a disgrace. And so we wore black armbands to show our displeasure.
Or for Comrades watchers the following year. Former world record holder in the marathon, American Alberto Salazar, announced that he was coming out of retirement to give the Comrades a bash. Skeptics sat back and waited for the demise of the cocky Yank. Their prediction seemed valid when Salazar charged into a commanding lead long before halfway. But everyone had to eat their words as the tall American just kept on going, eventually keeping even a rampant Nick Bester at bay. Salazar won that day in 5:38. But this year she had to play second fiddle to American Ann Trayson, who set up a new record of 6 hours, 13 minutes, 23 seconds in a total rout of the local women. The men's race produced a remarkable display of fierce competitive running from the top four, which could have gone anybody's way. At the end, toughest teak Russian Dmitry Grishin took the win in a brilliant 5 hours, 29 minutes, 33 seconds, less than 2 minutes outside Fordyce's record. 75 marathon, to be run between Pietermaritzburg and Durban, a distance of 56 miles. Clapham could never have imagined that his race would grow over a period of more than 70 years to become the greatest ultra-marathon in the world, and arguably South Africa's most important single sporting event. What would have given Vic Clapham the most
positive thing, getting together where people all help each other and all try and achieve that goal. I mean, what's the success rate? It's about 95% or something on the day. And the only people who are actually racing each other are the people in front, and even they help each other, handing out sponges and that sort of thing. And I think what it is, it says if the human race can get over its so-called external
there whatsoever. Valentina Liachova has been on her own just about the whole race, obviously supported in combis by the team management, who seem to have a bit of a free rein on the route. But Valentina Liachova is still very, very well clear. It's about 1 minute 40 since she passed us, and still no sign of Helena Bear here. We're passing all the chicken farms, the chicken runners.
He make it. That official can't help him. He's got to make it all on his own. Rivati waiting to fire the gun, the chairman of the Comrades Marathon Association. A few seconds to go now. The runners desperately struggling to get over that finish line. Rivati doing the deed, and these runners all making it. Great elation. But eventually it has to happen. There it happens. And the last man to make it, 10 hours, 59 minutes and 59 seconds, is that Gordon Davids, all the way from
Davids, you're the last guy to go over the line. You nearly didn't make it. You're struggling coming over there. How do you feel now? You're live on television, Gordon.
Dead. Very dead. Brain dead from the knees up, in actual fact.